Have you ever noticed how fear can make a tiny problem look enormous? Sometimes, the obstacle isn't as big as we imagine. It's our mind that gives it power. This is the story of a boy who discovered that one simple lesson changed his entire life. In a peaceful village surrounded by forests lived a young boy named Ethan. He was kind, hardworking, and intelligent. But there was one thing that controlled his life: fear. Whenever he faced something unfamiliar, he immediately believed the worst. If dark clouds filled the sky, he thought a terrible storm would destroy everything. If he made one mistake in class, he convinced himself he would never succeed. If someone didn't smile at him, he assumed they disliked him. Slowly, Ethan stopped trying new things. He avoided challenges because he was certain they would end badly. People noticed his constant fear. His friends stopped inviting him on adventures because he always expected something to go wrong. One afternoon, Ethan's grandfather invited him for a walk into the forest. As evening approached, long shadows stretched across the ground. Suddenly Ethan froze. "Grandfather, look! Something huge is standing behind those trees." The old man smiled but said nothing. He gently handed Ethan a lantern. "Walk closer," he said. Ethan hesitated, but with trembling hands he carried the lantern forward. As the light reached the dark figure, Ethan couldn't believe his eyes. It wasn't a monster. It was only a small tree stump casting a giant shadow in the fading sunlight. Embarrassed, Ethan looked down. His grandfather placed a hand on his shoulder. "My son," he said softly, "fear is like a shadow. The farther you stay from it, the bigger it appears. But when you bring light and move closer, you discover it was never as frightening as you imagined." Those words stayed in Ethan's heart. That night he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the shadow that had frightened him for no reason. The next morning, he made a promise to himself. Whenever fear appeared, he wouldn't run away. He would take one small step forward. When school gave him a difficult project, instead of saying, "I can't do this," he began with the first page. When he had to speak in front of the class, his hands shook, but he stood up anyway. When life became difficult, he reminded himself, maybe this is only another shadow. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Little by little, Ethan grew stronger. His confidence didn't come because life became easier. It came because he stopped running from every challenge. His teachers admired his courage. His friends trusted him more. Most importantly, Ethan finally trusted himself. One evening he returned to the same forest with his grandfather. The sun was setting once again. Long shadows covered the ground. This time Ethan smiled. He walked straight toward them without hesitation. His grandfather asked, "Are you not afraid anymore?" Ethan replied, "I've learned that shadows only seem powerful until we walk toward the light." The old man smiled proudly. And that day Ethan understood a lesson he would never forget. Life will always create shadows. Doubt. Failure. Fear. Uncertainty. But most of them become smaller the moment we face them. So whenever fear tells you to stop, take one step forward. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep walking despite it. And you'll often discover that what looked like a monster was only a shadow.